Welcome back. Tonight's episode is a little like scrolling the news at 1 a.m. with one eye open, housing, health, and a few headlines that are funny until you think about them for more than 5 seconds, which is basically the modern condition. So what's first on the chaos menu? Let's start in Washington, D.C., where the city is moving forward with a change that sounds like a prank until you realize it's policy. They're allowing taller apartment buildings that have just one staircase.
One stairwell for a tall building. That's the entire concept.
That's the headline version, yes. The fuller version is you can build taller single-stair apartment buildings, but you have to follow extra safety requirements. Think more regulations, more safeguards, just not a second set of stairs. So it's like safety first and then maybe elevators.
Exactly. And you can hear the argument already, right? On one side, this could make it easier to build housing, especially smaller units, because building designs get simpler and cheaper. On the other side, when people picture an emergency, they picture bottlenecks.
You picture that moment where everyone decides they're an Olympic sprinter, and suddenly your neighbor is also your competition. And that's why the extra safety rules matter. But emotionally, it's a tough sell. Even if the math works, people don't want to imagine a 20th floor, everyone take turns situation. Okay, from stairs to money stress. Because I saw something about credit scores that made me want to open my banking app and then close it immediately.
Yep, here's the big number. Improving your credit score from fair to good could save you around $54,000 over the life of a mortgage.
$54,000. That's not skip one latte. That's your future self writes you a thank you note. It's one of those stories that sounds boring until you realize it's basically about paying less for the same house. And it's wild because fair to good doesn't even sound like a superhero transformation. It's not like going from I've never heard of a budget to I'm Warren Buffett. It's just a notch up. Right. But in mortgage terms, a small shift in interest rates becomes huge over decades. So the headline jokes about avocado toast budgets, but the real point is, credit is one of the few levers regular people can pull that actually moves the cost needle. Except the lever is attached to a machine that's like, prove you're responsible by already being responsible for a long time. That's the catch. Credit rewards consistency, not sudden inspiration. Which brings us to the next housing mood swing, mortgage rates. Ah yes, the numbers that make people refresh their browser like it's a social feed.
The 30-year mortgage rate dipped to about 6.41%. If you've been watching rates lately, you know the feeling, part relief, part suspicion.
Because you don't want to celebrate too early. You're like, is this real? Or am I about to get emotionally ambushed next week? Exactly. The story here isn't that everything is suddenly affordable, it's that rates are still bouncing around, and that uncertainty messes with people's decisions. Do you lock now? Do you wait? Do you give up and just rename your savings account? Someday house maybe. It's not just money, it's mental energy. It's planning your life around numbers that won't sit still. And while everyone is trying to make major financial choices, there's another storyline running underneath the whole dream home thing, cybercrime. This one is not funny, even if the jokes write themselves.
The FBI's numbers are brutal. Total cybercrime losses in 2025 were over $20.8 billion, and real estate fraud alone was about $275 million.
That's the part that hits different. Because buying a home already feels like handing your life over to forms and deadlines. And then you find out scammers are waiting right there in the middle of it. Real estate transactions are a perfect storm. Big wire transfers, lots of email, lots of unfamiliar players, and people rushing because everything is time sensitive. One fake message, one swapped account number, one moment of, this looks right, and suddenly your down payment is gone. And you don't even get a dramatic movie scene, it's just you staring at your inbox thinking, I did everything I was told to do. It's the scary part. Cybercrime isn't only about sloppy mistakes, it's about very professional deception. So if you're in a home purchase or sale, treat any payment instructions like they're suspicious until proven otherwise. Call people, verify through a known number. Don't trust the email that shows up at the exact moment you expected an email. And speaking of not trusting things that feel normal, let's pivot to health for a second because we've got a smaller story with a big emotional punch. A dietitian decided to cut out sugar for a full week. I already know where this goes. The body survives. The personality becomes a situation. That's basically it. The experiment wasn't framed as a miracle transformation. It was more like a reality check. Yes, you can do it. No, it might not make you fun at meetings.
I appreciate the honesty because a lot of wellness content is like, day 3 I became a glowing being of pure energy. But in real life it's like, day 3 I considered arguing with a lamp.
And it's a reminder that food changes aren't just physical, they're social. Mood, patience, cravings, routines. A week without sugar might sound simple until you realize how many moments in a day are quietly built around it.
Also, sugar is hiding in everything like it pays rent there.
Exactly. So if you try something like that, it helps to plan for the emotional side, not just the grocery list.
So let me see if I can tie the episode together. We've got DC trying to build more housing with new building rules that make people nervous. We've got credit scores quietly deciding who pays an extra 54 grand. We've got mortgage rates dipping, but still doing gymnastics. And we've got cybercrime turning real estate into a hunting ground for scams, plus a sugar-free week, reminding us that the simple changes are rarely simple when you're the one living them.
It's weirdly the same theme. Systems. Building systems, financial systems, online systems, even bodily systems. And the question is always, who can navigate them without getting hurt.
That's it. And maybe the practical takeaway is this: ask one more question than you think you need to. About a building design, about a loan estimate, about a wire transfer email, about a diet plan you saw on your feed. One extra question can be the difference between "I'm glad I checked" and "I can't believe I didn't." Next time we should do a whole segment on the tiny habits that save giant amounts of money and stress. Because apparently the difference between fair and good is $54,000 and a lot of regret.
Deal. For now, take care of yourself, protect your inbox, and if you're walking up one staircase to a very high apartment, just know we're thinking of you.